On today's show, we're talking about cruising and can you cruise from Florida? I'm your host, David Hartman, owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency. Welcome to the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show on a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in the Florida Keys. And behind us is the magic carpet from Celebrity Edge. Enjoy our show. Please leave a question in the chat about cruising. Do you feel like you want to cruise recently? Are you comfortable about cruising? And as always, like this and share it wherever you're watching it, and subscribe to our Fantastic Endeavors YouTube channel. Today's show, I'm going to talk about what's going on because I had a lot of change the past 2 weeks, and I felt I really had to do a show about what's happening. I did a cruise update a month ago, and so much has happened. I'll explain why. I'll talk about the recent things that changed it and what the current cruise lines are doing the next few months, so you know what you can do to go on a cruise soon here from Florida. Why Florida? Why is that the topic? Stay tuned for that coming up, because we're talking about vaccinated or unvaccinated. That is the question. So why is Florida a hot topic? What doesn't make any sense to me? For one, Florida has certain legislation and certain lawsuits going on. That makes a difference when it comes to cruising. So for example, Florida has a couple lawsuits out there, and one of them is moot, and people in the news keep referencing this one lawsuit, and that one needs to be just forgotten. So, for example, we have Florida sued the CDC to allow cruising, and they won, and then it was overturned in an appellate board, and then the court itself turned it back. The cruise lines are following CDC guidelines voluntarily. That's a moot one. Don't even worry about that one. That is just a little bit of grandstanding by our governor, honestly. Suppose he's running for office in 2024. And that, don't worry about that. The cruise lines didn't ask for that. He just went out and did it. Then there's a law on the books where it says you cannot have vaccines passports in Florida as a business. And now, to me, that should never apply to cruises. So, well, it does. And the cruise lines asked for forgiveness. I was on the first cruise on this ship, June 26th. And the cruise like, don't worry, we're different. We know the governor is going to give us a chance to hear ourselves. No, he said, no, I have to uphold the law. That's not an executive order. It's actually a law by our lovely state here. And there really need to be exemption for cruises. So one cruise line sued a while back because they didn't want to go out unvaccinated. Why is it so important? Because cruise lines were in the news last year, and they had a lot of problems, obviously, when COVID first came down. And it's an enclosed environment, blah, blah, blah. Norwegian Cruise Line sued, and this is the one you have to know about. Forget about the one with the CDC. That one doesn't matter which way it goes. Norwegian Cruise Line said, we don't want to go out unvaccinated. We don't want to have to move great ships. We're based here in Miami. We want to go from our port, Miami, and other ports in Florida, and we want to go with vaccinated passengers. So they sued the state of Florida, the actual Surgeon General of Florida, who enforces that, and then they actually won. And that's huge. That actually freed up them to sail, which they did August 15th, with 100% vaccinated passengers over 12 years old. Now, in legal terms, that sets a precedent. There would be a $5,000 per incident fine. That would be millions of dollars in fines if cruise lines required vaccine passports, required vaccines. And they don't want to do that. So that was a big deal. Now, Norwegian won, no big deal. Other cruise lines could follow their suit because that law no longer has a precedence to apply. If they challenge it in court, they win because there's already a precedence out there, blah, 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 legal terms. But what happened? Now, why are cruise lines hopping on board, following the Norwegian model? Because the Bahamas changed everything. The Bahamas, through executive order 2 weeks ago, announced anyone visiting our country with a cruise ship have to be 100% vaccinated, 12 and over. And that's been the rule. Why 12 and over? Because the FDA has only approved some of our vaccines for 12, some for 16, but there are some for 12. Getting complicated? Stay tuned. It's going to get simpler. Now, why the Bahamas? Why is it so important when they made this move? For one, Nassau is the biggest cruise port we have in the Caribbean basin in the Northeast. It has a pier that can hold 6 or 7 monster cruise ships, and it's getting bigger. I was there on my Celebrity Edge cruise, and we visited. A lot of construction going on. They did a lot of work during COVID. It has all these excursions. It is a monster cruise pier, hard for them to miss. The bigger issue is the private islands. If you ever been on a cruise ship and stopped at Coco Cay, Castaway Cay, Half Moon Cay, those are all in the Bahamas. I know the cruise lines own them, but guess who oversees the jurisdiction, who comes in and comes out? So when Bahamas said this, guess what? If these cruise lines want to visit a private island, which a lot of these itineraries coming up are because they don't want to keep dealing with changing country restrictions, they're going to have 100% vaccinated adults, call it, 12 and over on board. Well, now everyone is looking at the CDC ruling. The Norwegian Cruise Line ruling. Again, ignore that first lawsuit. It's useless. And they're saying, okay, well, we have the opportunity to follow it. Let's go ahead and do it. So now all things are changing, and all passengers over 12 years old must be vaccinated on a number of cruise lines I'll talk about. Norwegian, again, they stood fast. They wouldn't sail until they got their way. They sued, and they set the standard, and they got their way. Hey, I saw you a bunch of people coming on out there. Please leave a comment in the chat. Please leave a question. Let me know if you want to cruise, if you're thinking about cruising. I'd love to hear from you guys today, and we'll talk about it on the air. We're live. Now, Disney Cruise Line, who's been the most conservative start. And by the way, I'm not going to go too much today into the different rules each one has, but it's a lot of testing if you're not vaccinated. And now a lot of them are switching to being vaccinated and still requiring pre-test. Every cruise line has a website you register for, and they go through in detail what you have to do, and it changes on a weekly basis. And I've been cruising recently. I had a client's cruise last week. Sue Mooney, one of my agents who's come on the show before, sailed out of Fort Lauderdale, had a great cruise while things were kind of crashing down with the Delta variant. So things are changing on a daily basis. With Disney Cruise Line, they just announced September 3rd to November 1st for their Bahamas cruises only because of Castaway Cay. Some of the cruises go there twice. They're going to require 12 and over 100% vaccinated passengers. They can require a vaccine now thanks to Florida losing this lawsuit. Until they win an appeal, which won't probably happen soon, probably won't happen at all, by the way. I mean, that thing is totally unconstitutional for the cruise lines, my legal opinion. And then they also have turned some cruises into cruise only. So that's a big change for Disney. So if you're sailing on Disney soon, please reach out. I can kind of walk you through that. Disney has the most stringent methods of getting registered for the cruise. They have a safe travel program that you have to register a separate site, register your test when you took them, and there's also testing when you're on board, and especially for the little ones. Now, I have a client sailing in January. I will say 12 and under, unvaccinated, because you don't qualify for one. FDA hasn't approved one. You are treated as every other passenger on board. Very critical. These cruise lines are not treating children as, they have to wear masks, they have to be different. Most of them are treating them as every other vaccinated passenger. So the cruise experience is, complete, homogenous. What about the other cruise lines? Carnival, well, they keep changing. They had an unfortunate incident. A woman died from COVID on a ship, but it was well proven she had it before she came on board, and her testing either was a false negative or it didn't catch it. And unfortunately, she had a lot of health issues, probably shouldn't have been cruising, and she died on board. So now Carnival is saying, hey, what's up with that Norwegian ruling? And so now they're changing for the cruises from Florida. Again, why Florida? Because this law only applies to Florida. Texas passed one, but no one's sailing from Texas right now. It's not a major cruise port, Galveston. It's only a couple ships can sail from there. Our 3 of 4 of our biggest cruise ship ports in the world are right here: Port Canaveral, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Plus you got Jacksonville, Tampa, so many cruise ports. And when Florida passed this law, again, it was meant to protect tourism here. They had good intentions. They needed to exempt the cruise lines or at least give them a break. But, our governor decided to hold fast saying, hey, I'm enforcing the laws of Florida. NCDL goes, fine, we're going to sue. And they won for a good reason. So because of that precedence, again, the law is still on the books, the precedence, but it may be struck down in general, which would be a huge embarrassment for the state. Things are going to keep moving. And honestly, these cruise lines will keep suing and keep pursuing this. What about the other ones? Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, well, they're kind of up in the air, but they also have private islands. You notice all these cruise lines have private islands, and they want to leverage the assets they have. And right now, they cannot visit there, according to Bahamian executive order, without having 100% vaccinated adults, and 12 and over. We sailed in Celebrity. They were 100% vaccinated cruise when they thought the governor would give them a break. Didn't happen. In the last minute, they said, "Oh no, well we're not going to require you to do to show your vaccination card." Well, by then the sailing was closed. The only ones on board unvaccinated were a few kids, and there were very few kids on board. We only were 1/3 full. Hey, we got some comments going. said they will lose a lot of business. Fran, if you want to clarify that. Oh yeah, well yeah. Unfortunately, they're going to lose more business by not going to their private islands. So they're making a choice. And I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate all opinions. Whether or not you're for vaccination or not is not the issue. The issue is what's happened now and can you cruise from Florida? Now, my point of my show is if you want to cruise from Florida as it's looking right now, you're going to have to shop around because a lot of them are moving to 100% vaccinated cruises. The cruise ships want it that way, the lines, the people on board, and most importantly, guys, the destinations. These are small third world countries really at their core who have very immature healthcare systems, and they can't deal with a COVID outbreak off a cruise ship. So they're paranoid. The one halo the cruise lines had was the private island experience, and they just lost that. They just lost that with the Bahamian executive 2 years ago. That's why I said that changed everything. And no one wanted to show up the state because they're all based here and they want to play nice. But Bahama threw a trump card, and unfortunately, they got to do what they got to do. So thank you for the comment, Francia, and I appreciate that. And yeah, they will. They may lose some business, but they'll lose more by not going to these private islands because that's a key part of their itinerary. They're running out of places to go right now if they don't have 100% vaccinated guests. And that's the age we're in, unfortunately. All right. So that's what's happening. Royal Caribbean Celebrity, they've come out with some announcements. So what's happening outside of Florida? Alaska was already 100% vaccinated. Texas, they're not sailing from. There's no similar law about no vaccine passport, no proof of vaccine when you're a business to do business with a customer. So the other places around the country or the world, they're requiring vaccines. Now, some cruise lines are not. Atlas Ocean Voyages, a sponsor of this show, they have now sailed. Oh my God, I've been promoting them for a year and a half. And my friends Rob and Carrie were on board. My sales reps were on board, and they had a great cruise. They had a wonderful time over there. It was amazing. And that they did not require vaccines. My friends Rob and Carrie are not vaccinated for their own reasons, and they had a great time. Had to go through a lot of tests. So you can still travel, and then even from Florida, and look for the cruise lines who don't emphasize their private islands. Disney only said, remember, their Bahamas cruises. Okay, I'll say it again. Their Bahamas cruises. So my point of the show is you're better off being vaccinated, but you can still cruise unvaccinated if you look for the right itinerary and the right cruise lines. Some of them do not want to go this route for whatever reason. And I think Royal Caribbean Celebrity are resisting. Princess, I mentioned them because they're not sailing from Florida right now, but they're 100% vaccinated. Most everyone in Alaska is 100% vaccinated rule. When I say 100% vaccinated, I mean 12 and over. So, but why cruise from Florida now? Why now? I'm going to show you the example to end the show of right here, the magic carpet and the cruise I was on. We had our new Elks members that were new Elks members of Taverner Elks, and Marsh and Gary, who got us in there. Thank you very much. They just sailed, big Carnival sailors. They sailed on the Carnival Horizon 4-nighter, and they said, it was about 70%, but the experience was nice because it wasn't full. And this is a good time to sail. The deals are out there because now everyone's approved for sailing. We've gotten beyond that, despite what Florida did with the CDC. They're following the CDC guidelines. I think one cruise line said we're not going to do that because they had to stop in the U.S. one small cruise line. This is a good time to go. Great deals, lower capacity ships. There are some things you got to get used to on board. Maybe the guy you always used to in the bar, maybe he's working housekeeping or something like that. They are trying to work out the rotations of workers, but this is a great time to sail and take advantage of this. Now, I recommend being vaccinated. It'll be easier to find an itinerary, and people are getting canceled unless they get vaccinated, which I don't agree with, but the cruise line's got to do something. So I would find one that's not going to a private island, the Bahamas, which is all of them, and then find one that's doing something else. There's Bermuda still happening, and there's some cruises to nowhere that are happening you can look at. But I think this is a great time. But I do want to show you, as I love doing when I show off my shows, is some little bit of video I've done. When I was on the magic carpet here at Celebrity Edge, I did a quick tour of it and want to show you first off how cool it is to cruise, but how empty it was. This was midday during a day at sea, not a shore excursion day. And check out how empty this was and how beautiful it was and how cool the staff are. And one thing I will say, these people are so happy to have clients again. You'll be treated so well no matter what cruise line you go on. I called on my show. And by the way, watch my previous cruise shows, my July 3rd, my cruise review of Celebrity Edge right here. And then July 10th, 7 reasons to cruise now. Go back to that show to really summarize this topic. And all those 7 points still hold. And you can still travel unvaccinated. Just choose an itinerary of a cruise line that hasn't gone 100% to vaccinations, and that's not visiting a Bahamian island, and preferably going somewhere, maybe a U.S. cruise. So, all right, so this is the magic carpet where I'm at right now on Celebrity Edge. I do want to show you a quick video. It gives an example of why it's great to cruise right now. Take advantage of the deals, the timing of it, the beautiful itineraries are still running, shorter itineraries on bigger ships, things like that. And best of all, limited occupancy on board. Here's the magic carpet on Celebrity Edge. So here's the magic carpet. Again, it's on deck 16 on the retreat. I'm sorry, deck 15. So you're above the pool deck. So right over this jogging track is the pool, right down there. So they're walking. It's very cool. They have a jogging track that has an incline. No one else has that. Happy birthday again. Happy birthday. Hey, it's your birthday. Hey, Ellen. And there's my man Alexander, mixed a drink. Hard at work.
Hello.
You guys rock.
Hello everybody.
It's Cruising's Best. Support these guys. They're awesome.
Thank you so much.
And order the magic carpet drink and plenty of champagne. And I'll tell you how this moves. You see pictures outside the ship. They have this amazing orange rail, 2 of them. And it's got this hydraulic system. So I know I showed this video a little bit on my pre-show on May 28th, but look at this. So that's the magic carpet. I just want to show you how empty it was, how empty the ship was. The top pool deck, normally you can't find it here. And that's the first cruise back, the 1/3 cruising. A lot of them are sailing at 50%, but they're experiencing a lot of cancellations now with the Delta variant. I was at Disney World this past weekend. Check out my Disney show from yesterday on my Dave's Disney page, like that. And it was probably 1/3 full because people are afraid to travel the floor right now. People are back in school. In general, September is a great time to travel because kids are in school for all markets nationwide, and people feel hurricane season. Right now, we had a hurricane kind of skirt by us in the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing here, but it's heading towards New Orleans. It's a great time to cruise and take advantage of all those great benefits we talked about. As you watch the show, if you hopped on late, please leave a comment. Our show is all about inspirational travel. As always, message me, leave me a contact. If you need any help on a cruise or future questions on what you want to do for any type of travel, my number is 305-453-9208, dave@bucketwishtrip.com. I am a cruise certified specialist and a luxury travel advisor and also a Disney destination specialist. Appreciate you guys having on. When you hop on and see this, rewind and watch it to recording, and always like it and share where it's at, and follow my Fantastic Endeavors YouTube channel. Today's topic was, can I cruise from Florida? Yes, you can. It's better off being vaccinated, but you have to be a little more careful now and avoid those cruise lines that have those private islands or going to destinations that require 100% vaccinated passengers. You guys have a fantastic Saturday afternoon, and we'll see you next week.